Hi, everybody. It's February 24th, 2021, and the snow is so good all around. In the last couple weeks, I've been skiing in Stowe, Sugarloaf, Ragged Mountain, New Hampshire, right here in Big Sky, Montana, and everywhere I'm going, I'm finding really good quality snow. And here in Big Sky, we are skiing wind-blown cream with refills off the top every tram lap. And I'm tired. I'm not tired in a bad way. I'm tired in a good way. You know that feeling you get at the end of the day when you're like, yeah, man, I've been skiing all day, skipping lunch. Oh man, it's satisfactory. I feel good. And as we head into March, spring's right around the corner. I'm predicting a very snowy spring. Yeah, that's my call. It's going to snow a lot in March. We're going to keep skiing POW right up in through April. Anybody up for that? And before we kick off the show tonight, I just have to shout out to all the East Coast skiers out there. I got to be telling you, I've been running into East Coast skiers all over the place. And this week here in Montana, I've been skiing with different people from the East, from Holderness, New Hampshire, from different prep schools, different ski areas. And man, they rip. And I just love the East Coast style and the East Coast attitude. It's all out all day and skiing top to bottom and having just so much fun. Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Egan, and welcome to Ski Talk right here on skitalk.com. And Ski Talk, well, it's all things winter. Our guests range from the legends of the sport to the industry experts and skiers and riders like you from around the world. As always, we welcome your comments and questions on the topics we have. Just put them into the question in the comments section there in Facebook, and we'll bring them right up here in the show and answer your questions. Tonight, we've got, as always, a great panel, and we're going to be visiting the Freeride World Tour and talking to reigning Freeride World Tour champion, Isaac Freeland. This guy's really, he's out to defend his title. He's a good skier and a Southern California boy who's moved to the mountains. So he's a great story. But as always, we're joined by the founder of Ski Talk, Phil Puglisi. Phil, how you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing good, Dan.
I know you've been skiing Tahoe. How's the snow?
Snow right now is really good. I had to take a couple of days off, tweak my back a little bit. I'm back on snow today, finally, and felt really good. And unfortunately, we're out testing skis right now for next year's product so we can do our reviews and get them out to our readers. But I had to cut the day a little bit short so I can go back and talk to you and our followers out there.
I love that. And we're planning our day around Ski Talk, Phil. That's the way it is. That's just the way it is. And I notice you're in the shop tonight. You got all the equipment. That's all new skis for next year sitting behind you?
Yep, I've got about 20 pair of next year's skis that are lined up. Some of them are carry over from last year. That the manufacturers we're seeing a lot more of 2-year product cycles. So of the 20 skis I have behind me in view, actually 3/4 of them are carryover for next year. So they're really putting a lot of confidence in the graphics that we're working with right now, which between us and our followers, I think is a great idea. Graphics really, when they carry over, there's no sense in changing something that's working well. It shows confidence in the product. It shows confidence in the retailer, and it allows the consumer to show confidence in the product, that they don't have to be next to the guy that got maybe the next year's graphic a little bit soon. The skis right now are looking really good and really sharp. Again, I've got 20 skis ranging from brands you're familiar with: Atomic, Armada, DPS, Dynastar, Fisher, Kesley, K2, Nordica, Solomon, Rossi, that are lined up there, and also some brands you might not be familiar with that we've been really excited about. Augment from Austria is really good. Blossom, an Italian manufacturer, just making a super ski. Renown out of Vermont, numerous ISO gold medal winner, and Stereo, who we saw on the show here 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man, you got so many skis. I'm excited. I got to get out there and ride some. Also joining us tonight, it's Tom Winter, award-winning photojournalist, writer, and media specialist for Ski Magazine, of course, Powder Magazine back in the day, now that they're gone. But if you've ever opened up a ski magazine, you've seen Tom Winter's work. He's also handling all the public relations for the Freeride World Tour. Tom, how you doing, my man?
It's great. Thanks so much for having me on the show, guys. It's really nice to be here, and it's been a good winter so far. And the Freeride World Tour has kicked off, and there's been some great action the last couple weeks. So I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about that. Excited to share it all with you.
Yeah, it's great to have you, Tom. And I know, you've been a big proponent in keeping this thing going and spreading the word about the Freeride World Tour and all that it's become. Just as you look at all your years involved with the tour, how has the tour evolved?
Well, I think, the thing to remember about the tour is it started as a snowboard event in Verbier, and it took a little while for them to embrace skiing. But now, of course, it is skiing and snowboarding, and that's healthy. It was, I think, those of us who were in the industry always had friends who were riding or on skis, and we didn't really differentiate. We kind of judge people, well, can you keep up? And the snowboarders can keep up, and the skiers can keep up, and they're all having fun, and they all have good attitude, and there's really no reason to kind of have it separate. Or I know that there's still some separation with some events, but having everyone together in one big party is a great thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they do that. And of course, they go to some of the most famous resorts around the world. Where's the tour going this year?
So we just had two events in Andorra. The second event just happened today in Andorra, or yesterday now, because it's late at night there because of the time difference. That was a makeup event that unfortunately we had to cancel because of the reality of running a world tour with people traveling all over in the age of COVID. We did have to cancel a January event in Japan and another event up at Kicking Horse, Canada. So the first European stop is Andorra. And so a week ago they did that stop, and then it snowed, and they had the opportunity to do a kind of a makeup event. So that happened just in the last 24 hours. And you can watch the replay at freerideworldtour.com.
Yeah, that's fun. And of course, these events are gaining so much momentum these days, and it's nonstop action. Just review for us the judging criteria. What are the judges looking at from the skiers and the snowboarders?
So the judges really, it's all kind of based upon line. And then I should mention that if you're watching in North America and you're familiar with what's happening at the qualifying level in North America, North America evolved a little differently than it evolved in Europe. So there's slight differences in how they're approaching judging, but it really comes down to line and degree of difficulty of line, and then aggression, fluidity, speed, style. The judges are looking at those elements to make their score.
And they're judging the skiers and the snowboarders with the same criteria.
Exactly. And it does, obviously a loss of control will hurt you more as a skier, especially if you kick a ski or lose equipment. And that's less likely as a snowboard athlete because you're strapped into your board. But people are being judged. And of course, the judges, it's a mix of snowboarders and skiers on the judging panel at the World Tour level. And these people they've seen enough. They're very good athletes, and not much misses them. If a little bobble or a butt check on a snowboard, you're gonna get penalized for that, just like you would if kind of losing a leg above your head on a landing, skiing or backslapping.
So Phil, tell me, and all those skis behind you, what do you have? For the sort of the big mountain, you got 106s, you got 110s, 120s. What do you got?
We do. Solomon has a new ski for this coming year called the QST Blank. Bring it right here.
Yeah.
112 underfoot. They're doing a good job in scaling the size of the ski. So they've got a couple different size offerings on this that each are going to ski exactly the same way. They did a really good job in the construction of this ski, and changing the flex in the tip and the tail and just allowing the whole ski to bend really nicely. And what they did with it also, which is a little bit different than what a lot of brands are doing with skis in this range here, they went to about a 17-meter turn radius. What that means is 17 meters is a nice medium radius turn. So for those tight spots that the people are going to ski in these chutes and tight crevasses, that the ski reacts really quickly. They did a good job. It's got a nice turned up tail. So it comes out of a turn really nice and easy. Out of turn, they made a really nice playful ski. Cody Townsend was important in the development of the ski. A lot of it was done here at Squaw Valley. So, and these guys here are familiar with this terrain, the Squaw, so they have a good idea on how this ski's going to react.
Yeah, that's amazing. And Tom, what are you seeing on the tour as far as equipment goes? What are the riders riding on? Are they sort of the ski complementing their style, or how's it go?
Yeah, I think, what we see on the tour, and I think this is probably representative of, what we see of top athletes who are kind of competing. If you're coming from a race background and you're kind of less of a freestyle type background guy, you're probably in a ski that has is a sandwich construction, a little bit of metal in there. It's a little more directional. If you're like a guy like Marcus Eder, who did compete on the tour, he's not on the tour this year. You're looking at more of a twin tip, more of a playful type ski, something that you can maybe ride fakie in, a spin, a little more playful. So it's kind of a reflection of people's personal style. The more schmeary, playful type skiers tend to gravitate toward less directional skis.
Yeah, it's so interesting. And I think, of course, style's so much part of what they're doing out there. And it seems to me that sort of that schmear turn and to be tricky and freestyle-y, it's nice to have that twin turned up ski. Of course, tonight we're going to be joined all the way from Andorra on the Free Ride Tour, Isaac Freeland. Now, Isaac won the tour last year. He's trying to defend it this year. Very hard thing to do. And just set this up for us before we talk to Isaac, Tom. Tell us about how he went about winning it last year and how he looks this year.
So Isaac's doing fairly well this year. He's currently sitting right outside of the top three in fourth place by less than 300 points right now. And so it's very tight up at the top. And obviously we're only 2 events in, so a lot can change. He did not win a single event. He had a couple seconds last year. He was a rookie on the tour. So I think he's in a good place. I mean, we have seen athletes on the tour not win a single event, but be constantly up there in the top 4 or 5 consistently, and they'll win the overall title. And that's really what you want. Obviously, if you put together a run of 2 or 3 victories, that really puts you in the driver's seat for an overall title. But when people are skiing at this level, and a single mistake can take you out of the running very quickly, a fall or crash or loss of control. It's very painful with the level of skiing on the tour. It's not unlike the World Cup where, if you're crashing in a downhill regularly or getting DNFs, you're not going to be in contention for a World Cup globe. And so the tour's like that.
Yeah, for sure. It's punishing and hard to repeat. So good that he's sitting in sort of that position to pull that off. And consistency is always the thing, because when I watch these contests, you see somebody flash it one day, but that same run could really result in a fall. It's such a fine line. Yeah,
exactly. It was a little punchy in yesterday's event in Andorra. There was a crust layer, and we did see some people kind of have this one ski dive and take them out. So, that happens. That's a throwaway run, really. You got to be on your feet if you're going to do well.
Well, before we catch up with Isaac, we've got a video of him to show. Let's check it out. Isaac Freeland.
Isaac Freeland, 3, 2, 1, drop it. Woohoo!
It's impressive stuff. I mean, just sending it, no hesitation, mate. Holy cow, he really has what it takes there.
Yeah, it's good to be under 20 or under 30 again, right? I mean, all these kids like, and the other thing I think that should be mentioned is he came up through the junior ranks in North America, in the Squaw Valley area, and they've got a very strong kind of junior competition ecosystem out there. And a lot of these kids are getting coaching now, and they're starting at 12, 11, even younger, and they're getting coaching and they're starting to ride. And so they're learning tricks in this terrain. So it's becoming very natural for them. And that's a big difference with the free ride ecosystem, with the teams around North America, and also in Europe too. But North America, in my perception, is a little bit ahead of the game than the Europeans. So I think we'll continue to see North Americans do well on the Free Ride World Tour because of this, because they're starting to train and really focus with good coaching from a very young age.
Well, for sure, Isaac is totally focused. He's dialed in, winning the tour as a rookie and trying to defend it now in his sophomore season. Let's kind enough to check in with us all the way from Andorra, right out there, right outside of Spain. Let's check in with Isaac.
Hello, it's Isaac Freeland, here in Andorra, just after the second event for the Free Ride World Tour. And last event that we are having here next is Iberbrunn.
Well, I mean, Isaac, tell me about the comp. How's it going, and how did it turn out for you?
Competition went well for me here. Second event was on the same venue, and I wanted to switch things up a little bit, but ended up kind of doing the same thing, which is okay, but not exactly what I wanted to show. But things are moving forward, and I'm looking forward to the next event.
As the defending champion, and doing it in your rookie year, you feeling any pressure?
Definitely a little bit of pressure from last season, being the reigning champion, but I've been trying to brush it off and kind of focus on my skiing. And so far, I mean, it's been doing good.
You're kind of a beach kid. You grew up in San Diego. How'd you get into this whole thing, and how'd you come to the mountains?
I am from Southern California, and I started skiing on a family vacation trip to Big Bear, and I went straight into ski racing, and then switched to free ride big mountain skiing in high school, and I've been hooked ever since. It's been super fun. I recently moved to Bozeman from Salt Lake City, Utah, and even though it's kind of been of a hard season to start out everywhere, I've been finding some really fun things to do and been trying to get out in the backcountry as much as possible, to try and bring some more freestyle aspects to some classic big mountain lines kind of around Bozeman area. And just as we left, everyone got a whole lot of snow, which I'm bummed to be missing, but I'm stoked that it finally did start snowing there. That'll be good for when we come back.
When you get back here, my friend, you have to come up the Big Sky. I really look forward to skiing with you. You grew up skiing, part of the scene. Just wondering, who were your heroes and who did you look up to?
Ski heroes growing up are, Candide, from the OGs, like Simon Dumont, Tanner Hall, Marcus Eder, Christopher Turdell, just like people who can throw down and been doing it for a long time. But all of the new young kids are fucking keep the vibe alive. So it's been good on tour here, and yeah, thanks for reaching out. Peace.
Hey, good luck over there, Isaac, and thanks for joining us. Tom, when you look at all the things he's accomplished in such a short time on the big stage, you really do have to, like you were saying before, tie that all the way back into coming up through the ranks.
Yeah, I think so, starting at a young age and getting good coaching is really important. It used to be these events were a little more kind of cowboy style, a little looser, back when I was with Powder and a little younger, so you'd see a lot of people transition from racing and do this. Chris Davenport having some success. He was a racer at University of Colorado, and some other people. And that's not just, those guys were very technically solid skiers, but we used to see a lot of straight airs and, big cliff hucks, but it was very much, very directional skiing. Now we're starting to see the freestyle, the tricks, and that's a direct result of the coaching and these guys spending a little more time in the park and getting or at places like Woodward in the summer, dialing in their tricks and then taking them to a big mountain environment, to cliffs and stuff like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, everybody these days, if you're not training, called out Woodwards, that's a good call. I mean, that place is busy all the time. Phil, as you look across as we head into the spring and you're testing all this new gear, just how many testers are there at Ski Talk?
We've got a team of, I think it's about 12 testers. We have up to around 16 or so. We've got an array of skiers. I mean, some of the other sites and magazines, they'll use X-Racers, PSIA level 12 skiers. I mean, skiers that you can put them on 2 warp 2x4s, they can make them sing. But what we use is a field of testers that, quite frankly, really can convey a ski to the average skier, that they can discern the differences of the pluses and minuses of a ski. And we've come to the conclusion that there's very few bad skis out there, but there's a lot of wrong skis. And it's very easy for somebody to get on the wrong ski. So what we really try to do is talk about the personality of the ski. Who's that ski for? Who's going to get the most out of it? Again, we're one of the few places that actually incorporate intermediate skiers as testers. One of the magazines years ago did an article that intermediates would never be able to test skis because they don't know how to talk about skis. But we actually have a group of skiers that do, that can talk to skiers that these are skiers that have what we call obtainable skill sets, that they can get on a ski and feel the differences of and again, I've got a couple skis behind me, the Atomic Maverick 94 and the DPS 94 also, that both of those skis are just fantastic skis, but they're going to go to different people and be able to talk about who that's for. And that's the main thing that's important that we look for in a ski tester. Somebody that can talk about the ski, not validate their own opinions, but to really try to listen and see what that consumer is looking for.
Yes, give me an example there of a solid intermediate ski in your quiver.
Okay, we got a couple back here. This is actually wasn't on my list to talk about, but I'll bring this up here. This is a new ski from Nordica, and if I could, Trisha was right here. She talked about this ski, a new ski that they're looking for their intermediate ski. It's coming in at a really aggressive price point of $599 for the ski, and it's 84 underfoot dimensions on it. Let's see if I show them here on the ski. I don't see them, but the tip looks like it's about 135, 84 underfoot. Comes with a really nice marker system binding on it. It's grip ball compatible, and it's a really laterally strong binding. And here's Trish that can probably talk a little bit more about this ski.
Hi. So I was actually up testing some other skis from Nordica today, and I asked them about a ski that they have called the Santa Ana 84. And I kind of wonder sometimes when a manufacturer has 2 skis in the 84 category, but they're built completely different. This one is actually being targeted to an intermediate skier. And while it's definitely got some forgiving properties, it's also an extremely competent ski. When I skied this last week, we ended up skiing some chutes at Mount Rose, and I was on this ski. We had it for the chutes, and I did it. I know that this is a really good ski for an intermediate because it has a really nice tail, and it really comes around smoothly, and it's a very forgiving ski, but it also will hold up to somebody who wants to get after it.
Now, Trish, you also got on the Maven. from Atomic, which is a brand new ski for them this year.
Yep.
I mean, this is set up more for an advanced skier. What do you think about the intermediate on this one?
This one is going to be a little bit less forgiving for an intermediate. This is a little bit more nimble. It wants a little bit more input. It kind of begs you to go off piste a little bit. This one will ski okay on the groomers, and it absolutely will carve nicely on a groomer if you know how to engage the tip well. But it really begs for you to get off piste. It wants you to go into the trees. It wants to go into the bumps. It wants to go into the chutes. It's definitely a little bit more of an advanced level ski.
But it's a good intermediate with skill set can grow into it.
Exactly. So if you are an intermediate and you are starting to dabble into getting off piste a little bit, this is the one you want to go for.
We're seeing some comments on Facebook about the Ski Talk testers from Doug, and we appreciate that, calling them out that they really know their stuff. And I think that's super important, when you start doing this. When you get on your site, we go to Ski Talk, how do they find the info?
Well, on the top of the site, on every page, there's a ski selector. So they can go to that ski selector and go through the brands and pick the attributes that they're looking for in a ski and pretty much build a selection of skis that really goes to what they're looking for.
Tom, as your photographer and, shooting for powder and skiing and all the things that you've shot and your involvement with the industry, you've seen it evolve, like you say, from directional skiing to more freestyle skiing. Just in your own words and your own experience, how has the equipment shaped what we're seeing today?
Well, I think obviously there's a couple of things going on, and some of this is COVID accelerated. Certainly, the backcountry freeride category is exploding. Most people I know like to have fun on skis, and I certainly don't want to have to work. So a directional heavy ski with a lot of metal in it, why it may be great for charging, and that was, it used to be the go-to for experts. There's nothing wrong with having something a little more playful underfoot. It's a little easier if you need to shut down speed in a closeout line in the trees. It's easier to do that. I generally ski on things that are twin tips, tip and trail rocker, approximately 114 underfoot. That's kind of my go-to ski. I'm mostly looking to ski off piste and go through the gates of the ski area and do a little touring. Weight is a little less crucial for me. So I'm with a Tyrolia frame binding that's a touring binding, like the Adrenaline, because you get the ease of use and the downhill performance with those. It's very personal, but I think the one big thing that we really saw change the industry, at least that I saw, was rocker. It's hard to imagine skiing on a pair of skis that doesn't have rocker anymore, because it just makes it so much easier if you get into broken snow or mixed snow conditions. That's really like having the oversized tennis racket. It really makes it easy. Phil can probably speak to that a little better than I can. I have tunnel vision in what I like. So I know what I like, and I pick it, and I ski on those skis. And I'm no longer in the testing business, so I no longer test skis. So it's been a long time since I've been in a ski test.
Of course, Phil, we were talking about the Rossi 4S. I know you got a pair. Just point that down the lens, and let's see what we all used to ski on. Yeah, there it is. Look at that tip. My Lord, so funny. So crazy. Those look like they're in good shape, Phil.
I ski these. I take them out. I took them out over 4th of July.
Did you? Nice.
I'm a glutton for punishment.
It's a good 4th of July ski, I think.
It was. I had my Lang Pink Panthers, my CB jacket, jeans, and a bandana around the jeans. So I was styling.
That's awesome. Well, of course, we're here at the time of the show where we do our roundtable. Let's kick it off with you, Tom. You got any questions for Phil or I?
Yeah, I have some questions for Phil. Phil, your name Blossom, and we've seen another European company, Movement, I think, was
Yep.
at SIA last year. They're new, and then you mentioned another. I think they're just kind of right in the far.
Augment.
Yeah, those skis from Austria.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about this invasion of like smaller brands from Europe, because we have so many small brands in North America already. What are these people looking to do as far as are they having new technology, or is there anything new and exciting about them?
The funny thing about it, these skis and the Blossom here, that N1 RC, the green one behind me, that is arguably one of the oldest molds that's in the industry. It's 71 millimeters underfoot. It's a pseudo GS side cut, about a 17 meter. But there is a feel to that ski for hard snow that is incredible. It is such a supple feel. It really falls under the category of quality doesn't go out of style. That you can build just a beautifully constructed, we talk about a metal laminate ski, traditional sidewall ski. And if you've used the best materials in the world, I mean, that ski is well over a decade old, and it is probably imitated by more than one brand. Blossom is a manufacturer, and we know them years past when they actually, Spalding skis was built in the same factory in Italy, and they were building skis under other brands. Some of the hard skis were Blossom. There's some other skis that are over in Europe that are built by Blossom that they put their own branding on. But these here behind us, they're looking to come into the U.S. market. You're getting a premium quality ski at a normal ski price. So it's one of those situations, and we talk about it. I mean, if you drive a BMW X5 or a Mercedes SL, what are you doing skiing on an Accord ski? So get yourself something special. And I think there's some really good options that are coming over from Europe. Augment is another one that's coming out of Mittelzoll, Austria, and just stellar skis. This one here at 98 underfoot. These just came in today, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if we can see the structure on this ski. Just see that structure, just beautiful. And this is out of the box. The quality of this ski, I will put up against any race room constructed ski. It's just magnificent. Now, there's a comma in the price. There's a price of entry for them, but there's very few people that have gotten on them and said they were not worth the money.
That's amazing. I mean, so it's sort of rivaling a Stokely.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely up there. And we've got some different manufacturers, and BMW and Audi and Mercedes, again, they're all going after the same consumer, but they also react differently on the road. The same thing with Stokely, Augment, Kesley we have over here also. They have different personalities. Blossom the same way. I think Blossom and Stokely are probably the closest in characteristics. And quite frankly, the Blossom, you can save yourself anywhere from $300 to $500 on a ski, and you're going to get quality definitely on par with that Stokely and have that Stokely feel. Kesley and Augment are a little bit closer in that feel, very Austrian feel, where the other ones are a little bit Swiss and Italian. But yeah, we get different personalities at this upper level.
That's great. Phil, you got any questions tonight?
Actually, yeah, for you, Dan. Again, we're talking about the World Pro Ski Tour, and again, you were at the forefront of this. I mean, we've got athletes now, and Tom could probably test this. We've got all these Woodwards all over. Do you have a level of jealousy where the training facilities that these kids have now to protect themselves?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question. When I was just starting out skiing for films and on the Pro Mogul Tour, I sought out a tramp and went to my old gymnastic coach from my high school to help me out in his gym and tramp. I had never flipped. I still never did flip. Don't flip now. And I do think it's really interesting. You know, there was sort of some freedom to what we were doing. Probably not as much commitment to what it is, but you know, as McConkey came in, Davenport was mentioned tonight, you know, and then of course, Tanner Hall and some others start to show up. You really saw a real drive towards style and flipping around, but, you know, we never thought about going backwards. So once they started going backwards, it really was a different game. So yeah, it's an interesting thought. I don't spend a lot of time thinking about it. I do, watch my nephews ski and flip and twist and head off backwards. And yeah, it's just another world. But that sort of leads into my question for you, Tom. When I watch these competitions, I always want to know where the skiing is. When they talk about line, and then I see somebody traverse the hill to hit a hit, that doesn't seem to hurt their line score. For me, line was always a little bit more flowy and involved turns, not these hard traverse to these different features. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I understand. I understand that question. It's a very good question. So if you're traversing with a purpose to go somewhere, to do something interesting, it doesn't hurt your line score. But from an aesthetic, from a fan standpoint, from like you and I, when we're just watching an event and we had, or someone in the general public, yeah, you want to see people flash something interesting and discontinuous. Probably the best place to do that is watching the final Freeride World Tour event on the Beck in Verbier on the Beck, because that is a big face. It's very, very steep, and there's not a lot of traversing that's going on there because all the features are right downhill from this pyramidal peak, and so it's a very directional kind of line choices that people do. But yeah, I get it. When you see someone traversing all over, that's kind of what's the point? Because that's not how we ski as normal skiers. And at our heart and in our soul, just going and ripping a groomer, that's free riding at its soul. Just skiing with friends around the mountain, that's free riding. That's the essence of free riding. And so you're not looking to traverse back and forth all over the place. You're looking to kind of point them a little bit. So
yeah, I agree. So to me, this is really the perfect conversation, where we have the top level free riders, showing their stuff. We're talking about the equipment that they do it on, and that's allowing them to express themselves. And the question that I get all the time is, where's it all going? What's it going to look like down the road, 10, 15 years from now? Any insight to that, Tom?
Well, I think, we're seeing some very interesting things happen. We had talked before the show, I think, or earlier today, about Kings and Queens of Corbett's, and these kind of events that seem to keep popping up are very interesting to me because obviously they're picking a core group of athletes, and you have to be a very good athlete to go do this, or you just can't just show up and sign a waiver and go flip into Corbett's. But I think we're going to see more stuff like that. That's more a combination of natural terrain with man-made hits. And interestingly enough, there used to be something called the Swatch Skiers Cup that was organized by the Freeride World Tour, and that concept was rather elite. But I've argued that concept could be taken to more of a general public with a toned down kind of venues, and where you have a natural kind of face, whether it's moguls or a steep face with some cliffs, and then you build a few kickers and you put maybe a rail down in there, and you can kind of let the kids go crazy on it. And so I think we might see more of that in the future. It's hard to say. I mean, I never thought we'd see people doing what they're doing on the Freeride World Tour, that kind of stuff. It's mind blowing, really, and I get surprised every competition by what some people choose to do. What's possible?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing because part of me sees the Kings and Queens, and I think, oh, it's a desecration of Corbett's to put pits in there and build jumps, and it really, I have to really hold my tongue, and I cringe sometimes when I see it. And I've always been, I'm so old school. I'd never even understood building a kicker while heli skiing. Like, it just doesn't even occur to me. And of course, that's been around for 2 decades now. So I think you're right. I think it is that thing. And I've always said that the future would be, rails in the middle of a mogul run. And I think, if you go back to the original freestyle contest, Waterville Valley, that's basically what it was. It was a mogul run. There was a big hit and ballet all in one run. So it's not far off. I think it's always been that way. And I guess the question is, Phil, are the skis there to do, when you bring in such innovation like we're talking about, when you have somebody doing a flip into Corbett's and they're landing in powder and have to quickly make a turn to get to the next arc, is the equipment adapting as fast as the athletes?
We're seeing evolution of equipment in a bunch of different areas. Obviously, race is its own little world as far as what they're doing with the restrictions, whether it be slalom, GS, Super G, and such, and trying to level the playing field and watching with stack heights and turn radiuses and such. And mogul kind of the same way, very traditional as far as the shape of the ski. I forget who the competitor was a couple of years ago that actually was skiing on a 94 millimeter wide ski in the fist level moguls, which was very unusual. But as far as the free ride and what Tom's saying, it's amazing how these skis are evolving and just getting better and better every year. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'll get on a ski side. My God, this is the best incarnation of this ski, and how are they going to make it better? And a year or two later, I get a new version and think, son of a gun, they did make it better. I get back on that ski that I thought was just a fantastic ski. It's like, how did I even ski this thing? It's a board. And it's just the technology is evolving. And what we're seeing moving forward in the design of it and the skis is Tom talked about rocker early on. And what we have to watch is blanket statements like rocker, like hammer, such. But we've got skis with different types of rocker, different shapes of rocker that are going to react different ways. And that's what we really have to watch. And what we also have to watch is people getting pigeonholed, say, well, I can only ski a 178 or 177 to 179. Well, you might ski a different type of ski in different types of conditions. So come into this with really an open mind. And I think that's the one thing in equipment that we have to look forward is have an open mind when you're considering something. And especially like Tom, we talked about on the free ride tour, different athletes have different needs for equipment. And different skis can react different ways, whether it be a full race construction ski that takes a Neanderthal to bend, or somebody that prefers a zero camber twin tip in their design. So, and whatever's going to work for them. And we're seeing this, whether somebody's 140 or 240 pounds, they've got different needs, and we're seeing more skis for different people. It's just a matter of weeding through all the data, all that information. Again, this is where I'll go back and plug as far as our testers. We're arguably one of the few sites out there that our reviews are actually interactive reviews, that you can actually ask and talk to the testers that was on that ski, say, hey, what do you think about this ski for me? Do you think this is going to work for me? And I think that's where a lot of the differences are changing, is matching up that person with the right ski and for the terrain that they ski as compared to that terrain that they hope to ski. And that's what we see a lot. Everybody wants to have 108 to 120 millimeter wide ski for powder, but I mean, how many days a year do we get that? We need a ski for the conditions that we actually ski that has some versatility. And everybody's level of versatility is different.
Lot of wisdom there, my friend. A lot of wisdom in that. And of course, as we saw earlier in the show, we're joined by Isaac Freeland, of defending world champion of the Freeride World Tour. And we're going to take a look now at his most recent run in the latest competition.
Isaac Freestyle, he has such a sick bag of tricks, and we finally saw it uncorked, but he is also a really strong big mountain rider, and that may serve him well in this venue today. The Wildsloder, it is the true big mountain face, and Isaac, he's been on the podium now. He wants to go again.
Left three into the exposure with half the time for a turn before the cliff. Another traffic on the Heusel Cliff, but doing it really well and coming in racer style to this next feature. I would bet we see him trick it.
Well, you called it. You saw it. Isaac Freeland already has 2 360s, and he is pinned through here, showing that great technique, flaring out the tweak on the shifty on that one. So Isaac Freeland, another contender here as he heads into the slight rest, is mental rest. You're just skiing POW, but you can't turn off because you know they have the section down here. Isaac Freeland, a slightly different take on this section.
Isaac Freestyle land, earing into and out of the gap. making most of the power. That looks like so much fun to ski, even though a bunch of people have been. He's getting fresh takeoffs and landings and just no hesitation. That bottom section has taken a few people down. Not him, not Isaac. He's found a fresh way to get through there, and he's already at the finish.
So aggressive through there. He did not take his foot off the gas pedal at all, pinning it into the chute, flying out, and then nuking off the bottom. So as we said with Isaac, he's got the freestyle technique, but when he's skiing, it doesn't look like freestyle or skiing. It looks like a big mountain charger skier. So such a perfect blend of skills for this sport. Coming across the line, switch, breaking the beam if there was one, and Isaac Freeland wrapping up his run. That was a hot one too. Wow, this field is impressive today. You know, we've seen the balance for riders sometimes. We saw it maybe flare a little to the oversendy side of Kicking Horse, but they seem to be kind of towing the line today, sending hard enough, but most riders staying on their feet so far.
Yeah, that's right. Isaac Freeland showing even more creativity. That left 3 in exposure, so gnarly. I do not think that it's obvious how much risk the riders are taking and how much they back themselves, because their skill set is right there to back it up. And then this one too, that's a big air.
Yeah, and he didn't slow down at all, as he couldn't, because he wouldn't have cleared the rocks if he had. And then this entry into the chute and then flying off the other wall right over the bushes. And if we didn't catch in the replay, but it was just a one left footer and then pumping off his bottom air. No shedding of speed at all. Hot run for Isaac Freeland.
Super interesting, because a lot of the middle of the face has been closed due to lack of snow today. As Hank gets his nose right up in the camera just to check whether he's got any boogers hanging out in there. Wonder if he thinks that Isaac might be kicking him out of the hot seat. And he's looking as the score comes up. It's 94.67. He is taking Hank out of the hot seat. This is crazy. Isaac Freeland, second place last time, first place right now with about a third of the field to come. What is going on here?
So, Tom, I really think that shows sort of his attitude last year and his how aggressive he was. Can you just sum that up for us?
Yeah, he had a really good, solid year last year, and it's starting out really well right now. He's currently sitting in 4th, as I said earlier in the show, just a little under, just a little less than 300 points behind a podium spot for the overall. So he's looking good going into Austria. I mean, he was today when we talked to him, he was a little disappointed he didn't get his run today or yesterday in Andorra, the run he wanted to do, but it was still a very solid run. And 4th overall after 2 events is nothing to be ashamed of. You're in a good place as far as consistency, and certainly he's looking to do well as the tour moves to Austria, that event on the 6th of March next month.
So it's all coming fast, and we really appreciate you coming and joining us tonight, Tom. We appreciate Isaac calling all the way in from Andorra. And for all you watching, you did it once again. You wasted another perfectly productive Wednesday night with us here at Ski Talk. Phil, as always, keep up the good work. Look forward to testing some of those skis myself. Tom, we'll have to get together when I come through Colorado. Love to connect with you, and thanks for all that. And hey, check us out 2 weeks from tonight. We'll be right back here on Ski Talk at skitalk.com.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
See you guys.